Welcome, SENS Talk.
Stützle winds in, feeds it back across the track and scores! Brady Tkachuk makes it 2-0. Hit alone, scores!
Tim Stützle across, Tkachuk score! The captain, Brady Tkachuk, buries it with 1:18 to go.
See you later. Go, SENS, go. Welcome to SENS Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I'm your host. Tonight, Ottawa took on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Battle of Ontario. The last time these two teams faced off against one another, they were in Toronto, not here in Ottawa like they were tonight. In that game in Toronto, the Ottawa Senators won it 6-3 against Joseph Woll, the goaltender they would be facing tonight. So Ottawa is looking to start 2-0 against their provincial rival this season. Now look, before we get into everything, happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. Chag Chanukah Sameach to everyone that celebrates. It's always great when Hanukkah comes around. That means the end of the semester is near, the World Juniors is near, and the holiday season is near. So Chag Hanukkah Sameach once again. Just an absolute great time of the year. And as you can see on the screen right here, shout out to my roommate Noah and his brother Avery for this cool menorah that Noah has. A Senator menorah, of course, or as James on Twitter said, a Sonora, which I might actually have to call it. But once again, happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. Now, yesterday, before today's game, Ottawa made a very intriguing hire to their coaching staff as they brought in Senator legend, the winningest coach in Senator history, Jacques Martin, as he's been brought in to be a senior advisor to the coaching staff. He won't be on the bench, however. He'll be sitting in the 400s during the games. But he surely will help this team defensively. He's a two-time Cup champion as well. This guy knows his hockey. This guy knows his defensive schemes. And he will absolutely help this team. So welcome back to Ottawa, Jacques Martin. It's awesome to have him here as, once again, this team desperately needs some defensive coaching and defensive structure. Jacques Martin should definitely help with that. Now, going to this game, the Ottawa Senators have won their last two games. After losing 3 in a row, they're looking to get above 500 again for the first time in about a few weeks here. While the Toronto Maple Leafs have won their last 6 of 9 games going to this one. All of those in which they were 1-goal games. A little bit of a teaser there. Now, like I already mentioned, Joseph Woll would start for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but for the Ottawa Senators, it was Anton Forsberg, who going into this game stopped 72 of 74 shots. So, needless to say, I'm expecting a good effort here and a good result for Anton Forsberg, who's looked fantastic as of late. Now, as you all know, Thomas Chabot did not play the last game due to an injury, and now we know that he will be out long-term. He's back on the LTIR, the long-term injury reserve. He will be out for 10 games, 24 days minimum. Tough break for Thomas Chabot. No surgery will be required for him, however, which is, of course, encouraging. But once again, a tough break there for a guy that already missed 10 games, got back for 1, got hurt, and is going to miss 11 more at the minimum. So, 10, and then plus that game on Tuesday against the Rangers he missed as well. So, a tough break there for Thomas Chabot. Tough for the Ottawa Senators, too, who surely will miss him. So here's hoping that he recovers and does not hit the LTIR again this year. Now that's enough rambling. Let's get to the first period of play. And frankly, Ottawa dominated the first period of play. Joseph Woll was the lone reason why the Ottawa Senators didn't score multiple goals. He was unreal. Robbed Vladimir Tarasenko multiple times in this game, but especially in that first period. An unreal glove stop. It looked like Ottawa and Toronto would head into the first intermission tied at 0. Nada, but na. The Ottawa Senators got one here with 25 seconds left. Oh my goodness, the noof, Josh Norris on the breakaway makes it 1-0 as he beats Joseph Woll 5-hole. Finally, the Ottawa Senators penetrate the wall, and the Ottawa Senators take the lead. It's 1-0 Senators, an unbelievable zone-to-zone pass from Jacob Chychrun. As the Ottawa Senators in the first period of play dominated, like I already mentioned, they outshot the Leafs 2-1 was the ratio. They outshot them by double. It was 16-8. All Ottawa Senators, but Joseph Woll kept the Toronto Maple Leafs in it, and frankly kept the Ottawa Senators from taking over this game early on in the first period of play. Now I'm just going to take a little water break from my SENS mug here. All right, we're back in action. Second period of play, 2 minutes in, and my goodness, Ottawa, they got that goal late in the first period of play, and that's a tough break for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but here's a tough break for the Ottawa Senators. 2 minutes in, Tarasenko pass to Tim Stützle is turned over. The Leafs take advantage. After a bad line change, leaves Mitch Marner all alone. Tie game as he beats Forsberg over the blocker. 1-1. Tarasenko and Stützle, can't really blame them on that. It happens, turnovers like that, but Ottawa today had 15 giveaways. One of those was that one. It resulted in the back of the net and a terrible line change too. So overall, just a disastrous shift, and the Leafs capitalized. It's 2-1. And then after that, look, Ottawa and Toronto, this was a much more even period in the second period of play, and the Leafs eventually would capitalize after Woll again robs Tarasenko and Matthew Joseph, and Brady Tkachuk misses a breakaway opportunity. With about 2 minutes left in the second period of play, David Kampf somehow sneaks it past Forsberg. Look, I don't care what you got to say about Travis Hamonic there. I don't care what you got to say about the slot. Anton Forsberg, you need to stop that one. You're already down. There's no excuse for that one going right through your 5-hole. Just an embarrassing one there that Ottawa desperately needs to save on in the dying minutes of the second period of play in a tie game. A pivotal matchup at home against a divisional and provincial rival. And just like that, the Leafs capitalized. After the Ottawa Senators dominated the first 20 minutes, the Leafs, after 40 minutes, would be up by a goal. As in the second period of play, like I mentioned, it was far closer. 9-5 were the shots, is much better than 16-8. But the Leafs scored on 2 of those shots. So Ottawa only conceded 5 shots. They gave up 2 goals. So Forsberg has to be better. The shots overall at this point in time were 25-13 in favor of your Ottawa Senators. Speaking of your Ottawa Senators, they are 1-9-0 when trailing after 40 minutes of play. Going to the third period of play, it's not looking great for Ottawa. And then 4 minutes in, things go from looking bad to looking worse as Travis Hamonic has a terrible pinch. Then he breaks a stick, looked like a slash, 3-2 the other way, as Jarnkrok puts it home on a slot pass. 3-1 game. I mean, I don't know what you want Forsberg to do on that one, to be honest with you. Just a defensive breakdown, poor pinch there from Hamonic as well. And Ottawa's suddenly down by 2. It's a 3-1 game. And, at this point, Ottawa gave up a late goal in the second period. They gave up an early goal in the third period. Things are not looking good. But 2 minutes later, they get a massive response. They keep them alive and get them back into the game. As friend of the show, Jacob Bernard Docker unloads a slap shot from the point. 3-2 game. His first ever National Hockey League goal. What a celly as well. Congratulations to JBD. Clap bomb from the point. 3-2 game. 1 goal deficit. First career NHL goal. Welcome to the show, JBD. What a tuck that one was. By the way, shout out to Laleem's Martian. He literally predicted before the game that JBD would score his first NHL goal. So, Martian, if you're watching this, if you got lottery numbers, send them my way. But JBD, big time goal there. They give Ottawa a 1-goal deficit, a massive response, keeping Ottawa in this one and keeping things interesting with 15 minutes to go in the third period of play. But unfortunately, with 9 minutes left in the game, you hate to see this. Senator fan, Toronto fan, you hate to see this. Joseph Woll appears to tweak something in his left leg, it looks like, on an ordinary shot along the boards. And he comes out of the game. He got helped off the ice as well. And Martin Jones will now be seeing his first NHL action of the year. Woll, to this point, stopped 29-31. The lone reason why the Ottawa Senators weren't in the lead at this point was because of Joseph Woll. And you really just hate to see that because, once again, he had to be helped off the ice. I wouldn't expect him to be back anytime soon. And look, I hope I'm wrong about that, but that's just the way it looks right now. And, once again, you just really hate to see that. I wish nothing but the best for Joseph Woll. A really young goaltender that has a lot of promise. But anyways, 2 minutes later, the Leafs would kind of make things better after that unfortunate injury, because 2 minutes later, Jacob McCabe draws Jacob Chikrin in on the hash mark, screening the goaltender, Anton Forsberg, which leaves, guess who, William Nylander all alone on the top of the hash mark. He rips one glove side. It's suddenly back to a 2-goal deficit. 4-2 Toronto with about 7 minutes left in the third period of play. And look, things are not looking good for Ottawa, but they have a new goaltender in the crease. A goaltender that has not faced NHL shots this year and who hasn't played all game, suddenly coming in the last 10 minutes. There's a good opportunity there for Ottawa. They take advantage of a cold goaltender, but early on in his debut for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Martin Jones made a few key stops, and he looked like an NHL veteran goaltender, which is what he is. But with 2 minutes left, the Ottawa Senators would finally break through as Jake Sandman Sanderson, the Snake, Jake Sanderson, feeds Claude G-Money Giroux on a one-timer. Bang! 4-3 game, back to a 1-goal deficit. A one-time goal here for Claude Giroux. Beautiful stuff. Great pass there by Jake Sanderson as well, with the net empty. And suddenly, with just under 2 minutes left, the Ottawa Senators are right back in this one. And suddenly, who knows? Maybe we're going to go to overtime with 50 seconds left. Ottawa gets a power play. Things are looking realistic. Suddenly, the Ottawa Senators are back in this game, but unfortunately, that's where all the excitement would end. They would not get a goal to tie it as the Toronto Maple Leafs hold on for a 4-3 victory over the Ottawa Senators. As Ottawa once again drops below 500. They are 10-11-0 on the year. Let's just get to the post-game thoughts right now. Look, Anton Forsberg, once again, I don't blame goaltenders often for the results of games. I think goaltenders are far too criticized and blamed and singled out for the outcomes of games. But in a game where Ottawa is putting on 41 shots and they're only giving up 20, you can't be the one giving up, 4 goals and not scoring 4 goals. And, that goal there for Yarncroc, I believe, on that setup from the Hamonic bad pinch-in, that one, guess what? I don't know what you want Forsberg to do on that one. But, of course, that Kampf goal out front, just have to have a stop there. And then, of course, on that first one, it was a decent shot, but from that far out with no screen, you'd like a save there as well. So, not the best game there for Anton Forsberg, who going into this game was looking fantastic, but he finishes with an .818 save percentage, and that's just not going to cut it, especially in a game where you're dominating, frankly. And next game Ottawa plays is on Saturday against Detroit. I would expect Korpisalo probably to start that one, give Forsberg a bit of a break, especially after a rough start. But like I just kind of alluded to, Ottawa today put on 41 shots. They just got goalied. You could say, look, Tarasenko probably should take a one-timer on a couple of those chances. But they got breakaways, and they could have scored on a lot of those. But the goaltenders, primarily Joseph Woll, was just really flying out of his crease, flying on the ice, very athletic, very positionally sound. He tracks the puck very well, Joseph Woll, I gotta be honest with you. And that athleticism really showed off today, especially in those lateral pushes in the crease, particularly on that Tarasenko save in the first period of play. So Ottawa just got goalie today. It happens. They still scored 3 goals, but once again, a couple of those goals that went in against Ottawa, if they were stopped, we're looking at a 3-2 win here for Ottawa, right? So tough bounce there for Ottawa, and I say that ironically and unironically. So, look, there's no silver linings. We got a tough stretch coming up, which we'll get to in a second. But once again, Ottawa literally did everything but win today. I'll just be honest with you. And I don't say that often. You guys know this. I'm very critical of the team. They really just did everything but win today. Now, last thing I want to mention, I'm not blaming this loss on these two players. By no means I'm blaming these two players for the loss. Tim Stützle in particular looked great. Really, Greig and his line looked fine. But Stützle with a 36% faceoff percentage. Really, Greig at a 30% clip. You just have to do far better. They were both getting destroyed today in the faceoff circle. Ends up allowing the Leafs to get a lot more possession opportunities and scoring opportunities. So I'm not blaming them for the loss whatsoever. I thought both played well. But they're both young centers. You have a guy like Claude Giroux that will mentor them continually throughout the year. But you do need to see better rates than that. I mean, below 40% is just inexcusable, especially in an important game like this when you're at home, when you have home ice advantage. So just wanted to point that out because a bit of a concerning thing there. But they're both young centers, and I expect over the coming years, Stützle in particular, I hope his numbers pick up, but really Greig, usually he's a very good face-off man. So I was a little surprised at how low his rate was in this game. That's why I wanted to mention that. Now, like I mentioned, Ottawa, tough road trip coming up. Their next game is on Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Another important, pivotal game against a divisional rival. Detroit is a team that Ottawa, if they want to get back in the playoff race, this is a team they have to beat. They've already lost to them this year. You can't do it twice. So this is a game that Ottawa has to have. So here's hoping that they get that win. But besides that, I will see you all on Saturday night when the Ottawa Senators take on the Detroit Red Wings. So besides that, I'll see you all soon. Take care, and go Sens go.